History of Russia in 100 Minutes by Smart Histories. Brezhnev's stagnation. The Khrushchev thaw was followed by the 20-year rule of Leonid Brezhnev. It was a time of relaxed foreign relations and internal standstill. During Brezhnev's era of stagnation, the Soviet Union became politically, economically, and socially backward, and the need for reforms grew increasingly acute. Joint leadership. Many high-level communists believed that the Khrushchev thaw had gone too far and that his politics needed to be reversed. Khrushchev's rule was replaced by the joint leadership of three men, Leonid Brezhnev, Alexei Kosygin, and Nikolai Podgorny. There was some experimentation with reforms in the beginning, but Brezhnev managed to outmaneuver the other two. With Leonid Brezhnev now in full power, the reactionary political groups had won. Era of stagnation. The following 2 decades became known as the Era of Stagnation. It was a time of standstill and limited freedom. Censorship increased, and political dissidents were oppressed and imprisoned. Communist propaganda saw its revival, also there was less criticism of Stalin's crimes. Stagnation became visible in all levels of society, in economy, in politics, and in culture. Foreign policy. In 1968, Czechoslovakia was going through the Prague Spring. The leader, Alexander Dubček, was experimenting with liberal reforms, which were to be called socialism with a human face. Brezhnev and his advisors in Moscow decided to send tanks in Prague to put down the popular movement. Thus, the right of the Soviet Union to intervene militarily in the affairs of other satellite states came to be known as the Brezhnev Doctrine. Détente. The time from 1969 to 1972 is known as the relaxation of tensions, or détente. The Soviet Union and the United States made several efforts to mutually contain the arms race and minimize conflict. Its peak was Richard Nixon's visit to Moscow in 1972. Another highlight was the 1975 Helsinki Accords, when Western countries agreed to accept Soviet hegemony over Eastern Europe in exchange for more civil rights for its inhabitants. Thereafter, relations turned colder again, and remained so until the perestroika of 1985. It was reinforced by the Afghan War, 1979 to 1989, where the Soviet Union was unable to conquer Afghanistan. Gerontocracy. Brezhnev died in 1982. He was 75 years old. 2 of his followers, Yuri Andropov and Konstantin Chernenko, was also sick and old, and did nothing to reform the Soviet Union, though they carried on the era of gerontocracy, rule of old people. By the mid-1980s, the Soviet Union was no longer at a standstill, but rather in an extensive political, economic, and social crisis. It needed reforms in order to survive. Thank you for watching. For thousands of helpful resources of Russian history, please visit our website at smarthistories.com.